Good morning, it's me. It must be Saturday. And isn't it nice to be able to say, what a beautiful day, instead of it's raining or it's cold and miserable. You know, we look out the window, the sun's shining and it's blue sky, there's a nice little breeze. The garden's looking much improved. The grass patches are all sorted. Just one patch which I've had to leave to the last because obviously it's round the washing line, and so I've had to do that in sections so that I can at least hang the washing line, but you know, that's by the by. So what sort of week has it been? Bit of a mixed week, if I'm honest. Some sad things have happened. So I have a very dear friend, as you know, who lives just outside Norwich, whose dad died on Tuesday, so that was really sad. He's been poorly for a while with Parkinson's, and in the last 3 weeks he's had several falls and ended up back in hospital, and really I think the disease got the better of him in these last few weeks, and he deteriorated quite quickly from what he was. So that was really sad. And another friend's just had a really tough time at work. I think she's come through the other side of it, showing her professionalism and her compassion. But she has had a very tough time at work, and on top of that her husband's been signed off work poorly, and he's been poorly on and off for about 18 months, 2 years. So yeah, it sort of feels a bit like life's a bit tough for them as well. So that's sad when you are fond of people and you hold them close in your heart. So from that point of view, it's been quite a sad week. But it's also been a joyous week. And a week of realisation and a week of achievement in lots of other ways. So Dan has now finished school. Last day was yesterday, and that's good because homeschooling's done. We're back at school in September, and we can enjoy the summer holidays. We've got some plans to do some furniture restoration as a new thing for him to do, and we've got some trips planned. We might go and do the zoo, and we might go and do some pick your own stuff. So there are a few things that we've got planned, and we've had it confirmed this morning that our holiday is going ahead at the end of August. So again, joyous things going on as well. But last night and today, or this morning, has been a pleasure for us because as you know, Michael was supposed to be groomsman at a wedding in April, on April the 18th, which was cancelled due to lockdown. And today his friends get married. So his friend came and stayed here overnight last night, which was lovely. It was lovely to see him, and it was lovely to see the joy that actually after all this waiting, the wedding is going ahead. Not necessarily as they'd originally planned, because obviously there's only 30 people there, but in some respects for both of them it's just going to be so lovely because it is just family. So mums and dads and nans and granddads and brothers and sisters, their bridesmaids and their groomsmen, who are their dear friends and their closest friends, and who they'd really want to be there. So they get married at 12:30, and what a beautiful day. It's just right. They were a little concerned because obviously the plan had been April, and so the groomsmen are in really beautiful suits, but they're warm, so that's going to be quite warm if it was a really hot day, so I think that would be lovely. And then they have a barbecue planned, which will be lovely, and the rules changed last night, so a few more people may be able to join them at the barbecue rather than just at the service. So that was such a joy to see them and to just spend time with them, with Michael and his friend, and to chat to them, and then to watch them this morning get ready and go off, the nervous bridegroom, which was a pleasure and a real gift, I think. So it made me think about the wedding that Jesus was involved in. So that is John chapter 2, and it's verses 1 through to 11. Jesus changes water into wine. On the third day, a wedding took place in Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said, "They have no more wine." "Dear woman, why do you involve me?" Jesus replied, "My time has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Nearby stood 6 stone water jars, the kind used by the Jews for ceremonial washing, each holding from 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water," so they filled them to the brim. They did so, and the master of the banquet tested the water that had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. Then he called the bridegroom aside and said, "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best till now." This is the first of his miraculous signs Jesus performed at Cana in Galilee. He thus revealed his glory, and his disciples put their faith in him. So obviously, because of our house guest last night, that's been on my mind a little bit all week, really, I suppose. And certain aspects of it have really spoken to me. The first bit that spoke to me was Mary. You know, "Come on, son, get on with it. It's about time you did this." And it made me think of, you know, the amount of times I've said to the boys, you know, "Come on, you need to do this now." And they've gone, "Mum, just, you know, back off." No, I'm not doing it. And a lot of that I've had to learn with Daniel, obviously, because, you know, you cannot get him to do anything until he's ready. And to be fair, some of the others have been a bit like that. And certainly with one of the other boys, I can think of one specific time when I really disagreed with his choice of doing something. And yet I was proved right. Wrong, sorry, I was proved wrong. He'd made the right decision, and he knew what he was doing. And at that point, I've not argued with his decision since, because I think actually I learnt a lesson then to back off. But it also made me think of, is that how God sees us? You know, as parents, we see the potential in our children. We know at times they're capable of more than maybe they're displaying, and that maybe it's a nervousness, maybe it's a worry about what society thinks of them or what other people think of them, or whether they will be mocked for what they say. But as parents, we're like, you know, you can do this, go ahead, do it. I think particularly of Daniel, who doesn't, I mean, he likes to be the centre of attention when it's his choice, but he doesn't like to be the centre of attention if he thinks people are going to criticise him or if people are going to take the mick of him. He's quite happy for people to laugh with him or to laugh at him when he chooses for that to happen. And he has, as you any of you know, the most amazing ability to beatbox, and he makes the most amazing noises. To try and encourage him to be part of what RGB did a couple of months back, and he went and he tried it out, and certainly those that were there when he did it thought it was brilliant and thought it was great, but he was like, no, that's something that's just for me, and I actually don't want to stand up in front of church and do it. I don't even want you to record it and do it. And then just recently, school have done something where they've asked those with musical talent, or with those that would like to try out, they'd got a music thing they were doing, to record it and send it off, and then the teacher would edit it all together. So I tried again to encourage Daniel to do that, because I think what he does is amazing, and other people do, but he doesn't. That's something for me. That's my thing, and I'm not sharing it. And I suppose in some respects that's our relationship with God. You know, our relationship with God is between us and God, and actually other people should not come into that. We shouldn't obviously cause people to sin or fall short because of what we do, and we need to be aware of how that influences other people. But it makes me think of Vaughan and how God quite clearly spoke to him and said, you need to take your shoes off when you're in my presence. And how God said to me, you might not do the world's best Makaton signing, and you might make some of the signs up as you go along because you can't remember what they are, but I'm asking you to sign when you sing, because I think it's important. Now, I don't want it to distract other people from their worshipping God. I certainly don't. And if it enables them to worship God in a better way, then all be it. But actually, that was a conversation God and I had. And so I need to honour that. And he might be encouraging us with a gift that we've got at the moment. Like Mary, just that gentle, come on. You can do this. I know you can do it. Just step forward and do it. So that was the first bit that really spoke to me. And also that Jesus honoured his mum. He didn't dig his heels in and say, no way. No, I don't know, he might have done a quick arrow prayer to God and said, you know, do you want me to do this? What? I don't know. It doesn't say that, does it? We have to think about that ourselves. But Jesus did honour his mum, and he did do what he was asked. And he turned it into a really memorable occasion for those like the bridegroom who was complimented on the wine. He spoke powerfully to the servants who in faith did as they were asked. Now, they didn't know that Jesus was capable of that. They didn't know who he was. But they must have trusted Mary, and they must have trusted Jesus enough to follow what he said. Can you imagine being the one that needed to take the glass to the host and say, you know, what do you think? That the master of ceremonies, would you have been a bit like, is this really going to work? And sometimes we feel like that when God asks us to do something, don't we? You know, we're like, I'm not sure about this. I'm really not sure about this. But sometimes it's when the chips are down and we have to rely on God and we have to step out in faith and use those gifts that we begin to see the potential that God sees in us. And I think about the wedding today, and I think about the fact that it was supposed to happen in April and it was supposed to be a big of an affair. And sometimes the small intimate ones have more depth to them, and we're not trying to please other people. I'm not saying that that was what the case was, but people that are invited to weddings, sometimes it's Great Aunt Alice who quite often is the one standing on the table dancing, or whatever it might be. So this wedding today is just going to be very, very close family and friends. Now, whether that intimacy will make it extra special, I don't know. I prayed with the groom this morning before he went on and thanked God for the patience and endurance and that they have had to go through to wait for the wedding to happen today, and what character building that would be. Not just individually, but as the character of their marriage as well. And sometimes we do go through tough times and it is character building, and other times it sends us in a different direction. And sometimes there are gifts that we know are lurking, but we don't have the courage to stand up and show those gifts that God has given us, you know. I did offer cooked breakfast this morning. Oh, I don't think I could face that. My stomach's full of butterflies. But actually, like I said, it's between me and God how I worship him and the things he asks me to do. It's between them two when they take their vows. It's between them. It doesn't matter who's watching them. Their witness is God, and God sees their hearts, and he knows. He knows that. So what's God talking to you about in that respect? You know, is there a gift that he's been chatting to you about? You know, I know that things like Jeremy wants to step down at treasurer. Is that something that you think? You know, do you know what? I think that's what God's asking me to step into those shoes, but I'm just not sure I'm the right person to do it. Is it that God's saying to you, you know, you're missing this at church, but is it something that you could get involved in once church is back? Has the time away given you time to ponder gifts, to think about things that you've always thought, oh, I'd like to have a go at that. I'd like to join the worship group. I'd like to be part of the singing. I'd like to be part of the playing an instrument. I don't know. I don't know what God's talking to you about. But sometimes we need that little bit of a push, like Jesus did from Mary, that gentle push. God sees the potential like she knew Jesus had the potential. He said the timing wasn't right, but he did follow her lead. Do you not think the timing's right, but actually God's saying it is? I'm asking you to step forward and do this. And as more and more of society becomes unlocked, and in some respects we're facing situations that were taken away from us, and we need to be sensible about them to stay safe and to keep others safe. Is there something that you've missed doing that you would quite like to do? I know hugging, everybody's missing a hug. But why? What is it about that activity that you're missing? Maybe it's time to question that. The best to last. I really believe today is going to be such a special day for this lovely young couple. And I'm sure God will bless it. Equally, I think there are gifts that will come from the lockdown. Gifts that may have been hidden, that all of us possess. God might be asking us to stop doing one thing and start doing another, to move into a different area of ministry, I don't know. But what I do know is he sees our hearts, he knows our talents, he knows our potential. And he has only good things planned for us. And even though we're facing tough times, or we've been through tough times, like my dear friends this week, that actually he can use those times to come alongside us and show us potential and a different way of doing things. Let's pray. Lord, you are a great creative God who loves creation, and who must be heartbroken at the way in which some of us have treated the creation. But Lord, you also see great potential. You see the gifts that you have bestowed upon us. Some of them may be hidden, some of them may be pushed deep down. You see our potential, you see our gifting, you see our zest for things, and it is good that each and every one of us is different in what we love and want to be part of. Lord, awaken within us in these coming weeks things that you want us to think about, to process, to go forward and do. You created us to be in relationship with you, and I praise you for that, Lord. Enable us to take the opportunities that present themselves so that we can spend time with you and find out if you are gently, as Mary was saying, it's time to try. It's time to step out. It's time to step up. It's time to fulfill that potential. Lord, I lift to you all those that are working so tirelessly to create a vaccine, a safe way of us going about the way that have been living. Lord, I pray that as we come out, that good things will come and bad things will fall away. I pray, Lord, that we will learn to be sensible and learn to think of others, that we will become a much more loving, caring, supportive society. Thank you, Lord, that you give us immense opportunities and we don't always take them. Enable us to see those opportunities and to grasp them and to give you the glory for them. There's so much going on in this world, Lord, so much good and so much bad. And I just pray, Lord, that you can give us an inner peace. You have our future in your hands and you know the plans you have for us. I pray for all those getting married today, Lord, all those that are getting married that are having smaller events than they may possibly had planned, all those getting married who have had to wait longer for their special day. I pray for those marriages, Lord. I pray that you will bless them. Bless those relationships as they've waited patiently for it to be safe to go ahead and have their ceremonies, their declaration of love. I pray for all those, Lord, that are attending weddings today, that they can see how special that they are and how privileged they have been asked to be the witnesses there. I pray for the week ahead, Lord, and I pray for those that are entering their last week of school before the holidays and for those that are still homeschooling. And I pray for the holidays, Lord. I pray for the safety of the children. I pray for those that are struggling financially with all that's going on, that there would be provision. Provision so that people don't go hungry. That there would be things that they can do that would be free. Thank you that the parks are open, and I pray safety on the equipment. I pray that people will be sensible in how they handle it. So let's say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from evil. For the kingdom, the power and the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen. So until next week, stay safe.